Sigma empaths connect deeply, but never halfway. When they meet someone who feels real, it's instant. It's not small talk, it's soul talk. They sense energy before words, pain before stories, truth before trust. That emotional pull feels magnetic, intense, raw, and real, but just as quickly as they bond, they disappear. And most people never understand why. It's not inconsistency, it's instinct. Sigma empaths dive deep fast because they feel everything. They pick up emotions like frequencies, joy, sadness, tension, deceit, all of it, all at once. Their hearts open easily, but that same sensitivity that connects them also protects them. When they sense imbalance, dishonesty, or emotional danger, they withdraw, not to punish, but to protect. Their silence isn't rejection, it's recovery. They're recharging from the emotional storm that others don't even notice happened. They bond fast because they crave authenticity. They pull away because they see behind masks too soon. What others mistake for mood swings is actually self-preservation. The Sigma empath feels energy shifting before it's spoken, and when something feels off, their whole system reacts. They don't argue. They don't explain. They simply detach, quietly, completely, and with peace. Because once they've seen what someone hides, they can't unsee it. Their withdrawal confuses people who don't understand energy, but for the Sigma empath, distance isn't coldness, it's wisdom. It's the line between drowning in someone else's chaos and saving their own peace. They love deeply, but they love with awareness. They've learned that not everyone who feels familiar is safe, and not every intense connection is meant to last. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Brainy Empath, where we explore the deep psychology, emotional boundaries, and spiritual strength of the Sigma empath mind. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt that instant connection and then had to pull away when the energy changed? Comment empath reset below if you've ever protected your peace by walking away from a connection that no longer felt right. They sense emotional energy instantly before words are ever spoken. A Sigma empath doesn't need introductions. They feel people before they know them. While most listen to words, they listen to energy. They can walk into a room and instantly sense the tension, the sadness, or the calm in the air. It's not guesswork, it's intuition wired into their emotional DNA. They pick up on shifts in tone, body language, and silence faster than others can form a sentence. That's why first impressions hit them deeper, not because of what's said, but because of what's felt. They've always known when someone's pretending to be fine, but isn't. They feel the smile that hides exhaustion, the laugh that covers loneliness, the confidence that masks insecurity. It's automatic. Their emotional radar is always scanning, reading frequencies no one else can hear. And while that ability is powerful, it's also heavy, because sensing everyone's energy means constantly carrying pieces of it. This gift makes them bond quickly. They don't need time to understand someone, they just know. They connect to emotional truth faster than logic can catch up. It feels spiritual, like they've met this person before. But that depth of perception also becomes their burden, because while others take weeks to notice someone's true colors, the Sigma empath feels them within minutes. That's why their connections feel so intense so soon. They don't bond through words, they bond through resonance. When someone's energy aligns with theirs, it's magnetic. They feel seen without explanation, understood without talking. It's rare, beautiful, and almost addictive. But the downside of such sensitivity is that when the energy shifts, even slightly, they feel that too. This instinctive awareness is both their power and their vulnerability. They can sense purity, honesty, and warmth, like light in the dark, but they can also feel dishonesty, envy, and tension before a single word reveals it. It's why Sigma empaths often look distant. They're not judging, they're feeling, constantly. And that's the truth behind their quiet understanding. They don't just read faces, they read frequencies. Every room, every person, every unspoken emotion, they sense it all. Before you tell them who you are, they've already felt your truth. They form deep bonds quickly because they crave genuine emotional truth, When a Sigma empath connects, it's never casual, it's soul level. They don't do surface talk, polite smiles, or half-present conversations. They crave depth. They want to know who you really are, what keeps you up at night, what you don't say out loud, what your silence hides. That hunger for emotional truth is what makes them bond fast, because the moment they feel authenticity, they lean in completely. No masks, no hesitation, no game. They've spent years surrounded by people who only talk about what's safe, plans, jobs, gossip, appearances. But that kind of emptiness drains them. The Sigma empath needs meaning. They don't want perfection, they want real. Someone who feels deeply, speaks honestly, and isn't afraid of being seen. When they find that kind of person, they open up instantly. It feels like finding oxygen after drowning in small talk. Their emotional honesty disarms people. Within minutes, strangers start sharing secrets they've never told anyone. That's the power of a Sigma empath's presence. It feels safe. They listen without judgment, connect without agenda, and see you without demanding you perform. That creates bonds that feel instant, not because they rush them, but because truth moves faster than time. But that same depth comes with risk. Because they bond from the heart, not the ego, they often give too much too soon. They reveal their empathy, their warmth, their understanding, and not everyone deserves it. Still, they can't help it. Their intuition tells them when a soul feels familiar, and their heart answers before logic can intervene. It's not attachment, it's resonance. Sigma empaths recognize emotional authenticity like a reflection. They sense when someone carries the same depth, the same wounds, the same softness the world tried to harden, and that familiarity feels magnetic. It's not just connection, it's recognition. That's why they fall deep fast, not because they're naive, but because they feel truth instantly. They don't want half connection or polite affection. They want something raw, mutual, and real. And when they find it, they give everything until the energy shifts. Because for the Sigma empath, bonding isn't about time, it's about truth. They absorb others' emotions so intensely that it becomes overwhelming. For Sigma empaths, emotions aren't observed, they're absorbed. When someone near them is hurting, they don't just notice it, they feel it in their chest like it's their own. A friend's anxiety becomes their restlessness. A stranger's sadness sits heavy in their heart. Even unspoken tension in a room can drain them without a single word being said. Their sensitivity is like a tuning fork for emotion. Every vibration, every feeling resonates through their system instantly. It's not something they can turn off. Energy doesn't need permission to enter, it just does. That's why they often feel exhausted after being around people, not because they dislike others, but because they've subconsciously taken on everyone's emotional weight. They are natural healers who try to bring balance to the energy around them, but in doing so, they carry what was never theirs to begin with. They can sense pain even when someone swears they're fine. The fake smile, the forced laugh, the subtle drop in tone, it all registers deeply. While others walk away unaffected, the Sigma empath walks away feeling what the other person was hiding. It's a gift that allows them to comfort and connect, but it also drains them to the core, because feeling everything means they rarely get to feel nothing. This is why they often need time alone. Solitude isn't isolation, it's detox. It's how they release the emotional residue they've unconsciously collected. Without that space, they begin to lose the boundary between their emotions and everyone else's. Their mood swings aren't random, they're reflections of the energy they've absorbed. The world calls them too sensitive, but that sensitivity is actually empathy amplified. It's what makes them understanding, compassionate, and deeply human, but it's also what makes their peace sacred. The Sigma empath has learned that not every emotion they feel is theirs, and that protecting their energy is an act of survival. Because when you feel everything too deeply, even love can become heavy. And that's why Sigma empaths sometimes pull away, not because they've stopped caring, but because they need to remember which feelings belong to them and which never did. They start noticing small shifts in energy that others completely miss. For Sigma empaths, nothing goes unnoticed. They feel the energy in a room before a single word is spoken, a tone slightly colder than yesterday, a smile that doesn't reach the eyes, a pause just a little too long. While everyone else carries on, blind to the change, the Sigma empath feels it immediately, that subtle drop in warmth, that quiet shift in frequency. It's not paranoia, it's perception. Their intuition is sharp, built from years of listening beyond words. They don't just observe people, they tune in to them. The smallest detail, a change in posture, a shorter reply, an energy that feels off, tells them everything they need to know. Most people would ignore it, but for the Sigma empath, it's impossible to unfeel. Their mind starts connecting dots automatically. The atmosphere speaks before anyone does. And it's not just about detecting negativity. They notice everything. The hesitation before someone opens up, the spark in a person who's hiding excitement, the tired energy in someone pretending to be okay. It's like watching emotional weather, tiny fluctuations that predict a storm or a sunrise before anyone else can see it coming. This sensitivity gives them an edge, but also wears them down, because once you start noticing every emotional shift, it's hard to rest. They pick up on hidden tension between friends, unspoken resentment in families, and even emotional fatigue in strangers. The world becomes a constant stream of emotional signals, and the Sigma empath receives them all. That's why their silence deepens over time. It's not withdrawal, it's awareness. They're processing what everyone else overlooks. And when they finally pull away, it's not because they're cold or uncaring. It's because the energy around them changed and they felt it first. Always. This ability makes them wise beyond words. They can sense truth in discomfort, authenticity in silence, and danger in charm. What others miss, they absorb instantly. It's both a blessing and a burden to feel the room's truth when no one else does. Because for the Sigma empath, energy never lies, even when words do. They pull away the moment they sense hidden motives or emotional imbalance. A Sigma empath doesn't wait for proof. They feel the shift. One moment, the connection feels genuine. The next, something in the energy changes. Too calculated, too heavy, too off. They can't always explain it, but they know it. It's that instant gut pull, that silent alarm that whispers, this isn't real anymore. And once they sense hidden motives or emotional imbalance, they begin to detach, quietly, completely, and without warning. They've learned the hard way that energy never lies. Words can be sweet, smiles can be convincing, but the vibration underneath always tells the truth. The Sigma empath can feel when someone's kindness turns transactional, when affection becomes manipulation, or when vulnerability starts being used as control. They pick up on the imbalance before it explodes. That subtle moment when giving stops feeling natural and starts feeling like sacrifice. And that's when the shift happens. They don't argue, they don't accuse, they just withdraw. Because for them, emotional safety isn't optional, it's survival. They know what it's like to pour into people who secretly take advantage of their empathy. They know what it feels like to absorb another's chaos while losing themselves. So when their intuition warns them that something's off, they listen, even if no one else understands why they're leaving. Their silence after connection confuses people. What happened? Did I do something wrong? Most won't realize the answer lies in the energy they projected, the one the Sigma empath quietly felt but never mentioned. Because empaths don't confront to punish, they withdraw to protect. Their distance isn't coldness, it's clarity. They'd rather walk away with peace than stay and question every heartbeat. It's not that they stop caring, they stop absorbing. They refuse to carry what isn't theirs anymore. And though they may miss the bond, they'll always choose alignment over attachment. That's what makes them different. They don't leave when things get hard, they leave when things stop being honest. Because once a Sigma empath feels that shift, that quiet wrongness beneath someone's smile, they don't wait for the explanation. They already have it. Energy told them first. Their silence after connection isn't rejection, it's emotional recovery. When a Sigma empath goes quiet, it's not because they've stopped caring, it's because they've felt too much. Their silence isn't punishment, it's healing. After deep emotional connection, they need space to breathe again. The energy, the feelings, the unspoken emotions they've absorbed, it all sits heavy inside them. And to stay balanced, they retreat into solitude, not to escape the person, but to release the weight that connection left behind. People often take their silence personally. They think the empath is pulling away or losing interest, but what they don't see is the invisible exhaustion that comes from feeling everything on a soul-deep level. The Sigma empath doesn't just listen to others' emotions, they carry them. Every tear, every fear, every suppressed tension leaves an imprint. Silence is how they cleanse it. In solitude, they don't replay conversations for drama, they process them for peace. They sit in quiet reflection, sorting through emotions that weren't even theirs. That's why they often vanish after moments of closeness. Not because they're cold, but because they need to remember where their feelings end and the other person's begin. For them, emotional distance is like oxygen. Their silence is sacred. It's where they rebuild boundaries, restore clarity, and refill empathy that's been drained dry. During that time, they reconnect with their inner calm, the part that the noise of emotional exchange can blur. When they finally reemerge, they're lighter, grounded, and ready to connect again. But this time, with balance instead of burnout. The world mistakes silence for disinterest, but for the Sigma empath, it's self-respect. It's the act of saying, I can't heal others if I'm running on empty. They don't disappear to hurt anyone, they disappear to recover from everyone. And that's what makes them rare. Their quiet isn't rejection, it's restoration. It's how they protect their peace in a world that drains it daily. So when a Sigma empath goes silent, don't assume they're gone for good. They're simply recharging their soul. Because even the deepest hearts need time to feel light again. They detach quietly to protect their peace, not to hurt anyone. When a Sigma empath pulls away, it's never out of spite, it's out of survival. They don't make dramatic exits, don't announce their absence, and don't explain their silence. They just fade, gently, calmly, peacefully. Because for them, detachment isn't about punishing others, it's about preserving themselves. They've given too much, felt too deeply, and carried emotions that weren't theirs for too long. So when their soul starts feeling heavy, their instinct is simple: disconnect to breathe again. They know how draining it is to stay in spaces where their energy isn't respected. They can feel when their presence is being taken for granted, when their empathy is being used as comfort rather than connection. And instead of fighting to be understood, they let go, quietly, with grace, because explaining themselves would only exhaust them more. Detachment for the Sigma empath is an act of self-love. It's the moment they realize they can't heal everyone, and they shouldn't have to. They don't hold grudges. They release energy. They don't need closure. They trust their intuition. When the vibration feels off, when peace turns into pressure, they simply step back into solitude. That's their reset button. Not revenge, just renewal. The people they leave behind often misinterpret it. They think the empath became cold or uncaring, but the truth is, the empath still feels everything. They've just learned that not every connection deserves access to their depth. Their calm withdrawal isn't rejection, it's protection, because peace, once lost, takes too long to rebuild. And that's what makes them different. They don't detach to prove a point, they detach to stay whole. They choose distance over damage, silence over conflict, and self-respect over chaos. Their goodbye isn't angry, it's gentle, quiet, and final, because when a Sigma empath lets go, it's not out of bitterness, it's out of wisdom. They've learned that not every battle needs fighting and not every bond deserves saving. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away, not to hurt, but to heal. And for the Sigma empath, that quiet detachment is the loudest form of peace there is. Once they reset, they return wiser, calmer, and more selective with their energy. After the silence, after the withdrawal, the Sigma empath doesn't come back the same. They come back sharper. Every time they pull away to heal, they shed a version of themselves that gave too much, listened too long, or tolerated too little. Their reset isn't about starting over. It's about returning refined, wiser, calmer, more intentional with every word, every presence, every ounce of emotion they give. They've learned what peace costs, and they're no longer willing to pay it for the wrong people. When they return, they carry an aura that's both soothing and strong. The overgiving stops. The over-explaining stops. Their energy becomes focused, almost surgical. Where they once poured into everyone, they now pour into purpose. And that shift is powerful because the Sigma empath's calm after healing isn't emptiness, it's alignment. People feel the change immediately. The same ones who once drained them now sense an invisible wall, not built from bitterness, but from clarity. The empath's eyes are softer, but their boundaries are iron. They still care deeply, but not recklessly. They listen, but no longer absorb. Their empathy has evolved. It's balanced now, not bleeding. Their energy, once scattered across others' needs, is now anchored in their own peace. They create, they reflect, they move in silence, not to hide, but to stay whole. And that calm confidence becomes magnetic in its own right. They no longer seek connection out of loneliness. They attract it through authenticity. They've learned that love isn't proven through sacrifice. It's preserved through self-respect. This new version of the Sigma empath doesn't chase or overextend. They've replaced people-pleasing with emotional precision. Their sensitivity remains, but now it serves them instead of draining them. That's what healing does. It turns their vulnerability into vision. So when they come back, they don't talk about the pain, they embody the lesson. Quieter, stronger, untouchable. Because every time a Sigma empath resets, they rise higher, not louder. Their peace becomes their power, and their calm becomes the kind of strength the world can feel, even in silence. In the end, Sigma empaths don't pull away to disappear, they pull away to rebuild. Every silence, every detachment, every moment alone is part of their transformation. They come back lighter, clearer, and stronger, not because they stopped feeling, but because they finally learned to protect what they feel. Their empathy isn't a weakness, it's a refined form of strength, the kind that no longer saves everyone, just the ones who are real. If this message spoke to your soul, if you've ever loved deeply, disappeared quietly, and returned wiser, then you already live with the heart of a brainy empath. Before you go, make sure to subscribe, not just to support the channel, but to stay connected with stories that remind you of your power, your depth, and your peace. We're building something meaningful here, a space for deep feelers, silent healers, and emotional thinkers who move through the world with quiet strength. Comment empath evolution below if you've ever had to protect your peace just to find yourself again. Because healing isn't loud, it's the calm after the storm that only the strong can understand.